Welcome to Tunisia's Locs, Beauty Tips, and Potpourri, the channel where we get it all in. You can also learn more about the I Am Melanin Magic brand. Thank you for stopping by. You want long locks,
luscious hair, radiant skin, want to look and feel good?
Then I Am Melanin Magic is your brand.
I Am Melanin Magic,
and so are you. Before we dig into today's content for the video, I did want to take a few moments to share with you one of the many visual successes that the I Am Melanin Magic hair brand is having. The Magical Hair Growth Serum has been very successful in helping people to restore hair in areas that have long been bald or that have been very difficult to remediate. This client, as you will see as you continue to watch, has been using the product for 2 months, and in the 2-month period has experienced some major changes. So we celebrate these changes, and over the next several videos I'll be able to share with you more and more of the pictures that many of you out there on this beautiful channel, on this blessed channel, have been so gracious and kind to share with me over the last almost 1.5 to 2 years. I'm organizing the files now and really making an effort to show more of the success that the products are having now. This is the Magical Hair Growth Serum being used consecutive days, I believe from Wednesday to Saturday or Sunday. And this has been a very hard to treat area for this client. So hopefully you enjoy taking a look at the before and after. We've had various other successes with male patterned hair baldness. Again, the results do vary from person to person. I'm hoping that you will stay tuned for the release of the Magical Hair Growth Serum Accelerator. Greetings, and welcome to the channel. Before I get in too far to the topic, the first thing I want to say to you is it's always better to get the information straight from the horse's mouth, which is why I'm putting Miss Blake's information here on the screen so that you can take that information down and you can contact her directly. Now, because she is located in the UK, you would put 011 prior to dialing the number, and if you have WhatsApp, WHATSAPP, you can call for free or you can text for free. Let her know that you're from the US and that you are from this channel as well. That may be helpful. Like I said, it's important for you to know that she is not in the United States. There is not a physical location that you will go. If you're interested in learning how to do knotted locks, you will connect with her and she will set up an appointment for you online. The same as what I did, and it's more than sufficient. I learned how to do knotted locks in sitting with her. I think we were on for about 3 hours, maybe a little bit longer, but typically it's between 2 and 3 hours. I believe 2 may be more or less what is more appropriate, because we were also talking about some other things regarding the hair journey. So it was a wonderful experience for me. It was a freeing experience, and as many of you know, it is very much in alignment with my philosophy. I tend to be an outlier. I question things. Things need to make sense to me logically. I am not only a creative thinker, I'm someone that looks for innovative and creative solutions to the things that are a concern to me and the things that I have experienced in my life, whether it's hair or something else. And in an indirect way, my mission is to do the same for you, because it's through you all here on the channel that I've come to this sort of synthesis of what this channel does today and who I have evolved to be in this natural hair care journey. It is my osmosis of your concerns, the things that you have experienced, your questions, your research, your anecdotal data that has piqued my interest, that has caused me to sort of go on this quest, but that has also helped me to see what kind of content we need here on the channel, what kind of solutions we are all looking for, what we have in common in this diverse hair diaspora, whether it's Sisterlocks, Microlocks, traditional locks, tiny locks. I think they have a lot of other names of locks as well, and now knotted locks, because I know more about them. So it's very interesting, and believe it or not, I found this. You know, I read the Oracle and Tarot, and I found this the other day. This is about 6 months old, before I even knew or thought I knew of Melissa. She's been in my energy for a while to investigate. All I remember, I wrote this down, knotted locks, reties 4 times a year, and frequent washes. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Who's that? And then I also put down here, V Microlocks by Valencia Reels in Atlanta, own grill, own tool, trichologist, expert, master cosmetologist. And I put it under here, and it could have even been longer than that ago. It could have been 8, 9, 10 months ago. It could have been a year. And so I remember in a video that I saw 5 months ago, mentioning again this phantom individual and liking this seasonal retightenings. And I always remember saying to myself, winter, spring, summer, fall. Y'all remember that song by Babyface? I thought that makes sense to me, because y'all know for the majority of my lock journey, I have done my retightenings at 11 and 12 weeks. Okay? And so it made sense to me, along with, at the time, what I didn't know, all the other things that didn't make sense to me, that I later found out when I finally met Miss Blakes and talked with her. We both were in agreement. And so I've talked on this channel about a lot of things that I felt would be important to you about your hair, trying to, or efforting to get all of you to be a part of the grassroots organization or the grassroots movement to reclaim your hair autonomy and to make the decisions that you feel are in your best interest, and to not be shackled by any ideology or indoctrination or a loctician or a brand or whatever else. That the world is too big and God is so abundant that there is not only one way, there are always multiple ways, and there are as many solutions as there are problems. Okay? And that's what you have to remember. And so you have to be flexible. You have to be ready to morph. You have to be ready to shapeshift. It could be this today. It could be something else tomorrow. You just have to be willing to travel or to traverse the frequency and to allow yourself to invite to you what you need. You know, we always say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And you have to look at everything in your life that way. Once you begin to question, once you begin to look for alternatives and solutions, they come to you. And I've talked about on this channel a lot about some of my issues with my locks and the brand in general. I've learned a lot in the Sisterlocks journey. I have loved Sisterlocks. I have not been blind when it comes to Sisterlocks. And I've tried to balance my disappointment with also giving honor and respect to a brand that put, as you hear me will say, us on the map in some way, regardless of whether you agree or disagree with that. It brought wearing your hair a certain way and experiencing hair abundance. It made it a part of the conversation. And for many women, it has freed them. And initially it freed me. But like a lot of other stuff that we come to, initially, it's a launching pad, or it should be. You should never stop growing. You should never stop evolving. It put me on the precipice of now being able to embrace something that I feel is better for my hair, that I feel is healthier for my hair, and that I feel is more aligned with my ideology. I've got to do this reading, so I got to pause the video, and I will be back. Okay, I'm back. So I want to get into 2 main things. I want to talk about the mindset shift that's going to be required. And I also want to talk about the differences between knotted locks and what you might already be used to. Now, bear in mind, I'm less than 2 months into this journey. I love it to death, but I'm less than 2 months into the journey, which means that I'm going to be learning a lot as I go along. I'm going to be checking my hair, looking at it, watching the transformation take place. I know my locks will continue to be small, but they're not going to be flat. They're going to look differently, and I'm ready for all of that. So in saying that, I'm just giving you a caveat in saying that I'm in discovery and exploration just like you. So it's important that you take what I say and let it catapult you to finding out more about knotted locks, not take what I say as the gospel. Like anything on this channel, I can only talk about my own particular experience, and I'm going to talk to you first about my mindset around it. I think it's important to recognize whether or not you're even ready to explore knotted locks as an alternative for you, because not everybody's ready. Some of you already in the comments, you already know you're ready. Those of you who know you're ready are already aligned with a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about, and I hear you showing up saying, oh, I don't care about the grid, or I think that this is an option for me, and a lot of other things. And you may be the best candidate for it, because everybody's not going to be a candidate for it. And why do I say that? Because when you think about Sisterlocks, and especially Sisterlocks, because it has been trademarked or it's been branded, it is a brand, and there's a certain way to do things, and there's a certain amount of rules. You may not realize that you've been indoctrinated. We were indoctrinated, and everything that the brand told us, we believed, many of us. And then there was everything the brand told us that some of us, like me and like a lot of you, weren't just going to go for. You were going to do it your way. And so you will be easier to shift, but you have to understand that there is an indoctrination that you have undergone without realizing it. Something as simple as, oh my God, I have a knot in my hair right now. Knots are, this is just a very simple example. Like, you can't even see this knot, okay? This is associated with a thinner lock. It will feel a little bit different on other locks, and also depending upon the way the knot lays. But nevertheless, if I were to run up against this little knot, which you can't even see really, with my interlocking, I'd be like, oh my gosh, what the heck, WTF, what am I going to do? And all hell would break loose, and it would just be a mess. And if whether I put it in or whether my loctician put it in, you got to understand that the very thing that you were always told not to have in your locks is going to be the thing that's going to form the strength of your lock and be your lock. And when you think about it, it makes so much sense, but it feels differently. Now, if it feels differently, it's going to look differently. Typically, our locks, depending upon how we started them, tend to feel flatter because of the interlocking process. A knot is round, okay? So it has a bump to it, which means that when your locks bump on top of bump, no, bump beside bump, beside bump, beside bump, beside bump, you're going to have a rounder looking lock, which I'm preparing for, and it's going to stand up more, which means likely my hair is going to be more bouffant. That's fine with me. I was a little lion, Simba. Before my locks started to drop at 5 years, I was like this. I don't mind if I got to go back to that. It's okay, I can endure it. And for sure, if you are someone with low density hair or thin hair and you are a good candidate for it, it's going to be good to you. So that's just an example of the mindset shift. Recognizing that there is another way to have a smaller lock, to have a lock that doesn't require interlocking or twisting or palm rolling or whatever, to have a lock that does not require that you get a retightening every 6, 7, or 8 weeks. That's going to be a big leap for you, because many of you were programmed, we've been indoctrinated, not me, because y'all know I've been doing my own thing for a long time. But there's nothing wrong with what you've been doing, because that's what you believe in. But what I'm saying is you got to shift your belief system around something else. You've got to broaden your horizons, and you've got to expand your ability to encompass that there is another way besides the way that you've been told is the only way, and that if you wait longer than 6, 7, or 8 weeks, your hair is not going to start to thin, and that it's not going to start to fall out. That you'll maintain it like you have before, but I got to tell you, I still have, my hair is growing very fast, and I still have hair. Let's see, right now I probably got about this much space between my lock and the knot right now. For some reason, it's not tangling in the same way that it did before. Now I'm still early in the journey. I need to wait and see where I am some months from now, or maybe 3-4 weeks from now, and then maybe 7 or 8 weeks from now. But what you're doing is you're closing off what would normally be open. You're closing it off with the knot, and the hair is being held. If you think about this, just take a look at this real quick, just for informational purposes. From this little knot to my scalp, all of that hair is being pulled together. And so that could be possibly the reason why it's less knotting. Now, the other thing is Melissa recommends that you wash in oil every day. I can't wash all of this every day, and I'm not going to because my hair is too thick. Or she recommends wetting, not necessarily washing. But I am spraying my hair with my, I haven't given it a name yet, but the water-based moisturizer that I'm using, I am spraying that on my hair daily. I, of course, make sure I spray with the floral water that I'm going to be using for the offering to the channel as well. As soon as I can get everything just perfectly, I need about another 3 or 4 months of testing, perhaps, but it's going to be made of floral water. And right now, chamomile is a big one because chamomile is a detangler. So that could be part of it for me, but I wet it daily or every other day at least. You don't have to, but I do. And you can oil your hair freely. You can do that on the first day. You can do it on the second day. It doesn't matter because the knots aren't going to come out. So you're shifting your mindset around water. You're shifting your mindset around oil. You're shifting your mindset around retightenings. It's called relocking. The whole idea of retightening and making it tighter actually is manifesting as tightness and tension on our head. So you're shifting your mindset around that. You're shifting your mindset around the fact that it doesn't have to be an arduous process that you have to commit to at regular intervals, thereby giving up your freedom. I'm not going to be able to move to such and such a country because I don't know if they have a loctician over there. That's what I thought when I was thinking about moving to Belize. I'm not going to be able to move to East Giblip or maybe even Massachusetts because I got to have a loctician before I could, like, making all the choices around the hair, just like we used to have to when we would go swimming. You had to know when your hair was being pressed, when it was going to be relaxed, what you were going to do with it. All this stuff that Sisterlocks freed you from. Knotted Locks, should you decide to walk this path with me, is going to free you from a lot of other things as well. Now, I haven't been at it long enough to look at anything that I might miss or any cons or any disadvantages. And in terms of my perspective, I can't really see anything yet. That will continually be shaped as I continue on in this journey. So like I said in the last video, you can wait and see what I'm talking about a year from now. Or you can take the journey with me, or you may decide, okay, I want to do it, I want to learn how to do it, but I just want to do this side of my hair. And I'm going to let this side, I'm going to see what this is going to look like for the first however long, and then maybe next year I'll do the rest. It's up to you because there are no limits. Miss Blake surely is not going to put any limitations on you. But it is a choice that you have to make, that you have to be ready to make, because if you're not in the right mindset, you're going to find everything is going to be a block for you. If you're not thinking right, then you're not going to see this as something that's going to free you, and it's not going to free you. And you're going to set up all of these artificial obstacles and boundaries to the very thing that could literally free you. What are your tools? You don't have a tool anymore. Your hands are your tools. If you've been doing your own retightenings, they're going to get a hell of a lot easier. If it took you 4 hours a day, over 3 days, it's now going to take you 3 hours potentially for the whole head. If you had to sit in a mirror and have all these contraptions like I have in my bathroom, a mirror in front of me, one behind me, one with a swinging arm, another one over here, a huge wall mirror behind me, I don't need that anymore because I don't even need a mirror. I've trained my hands to know my hair. I'm getting more comfortable with my hair the same way I was when I was a little kid. You remember, if you kept your hands in your hair, you could make a perfect part. And you didn't need a mirror. You knew what your hair was going to look like before you went into the mirror because you weren't a slave to the mirror. It's a different mindset. So now I can do it while I'm watching TV. And all I got to do is feel for the place to put the knot and do the first 2 to 3 proactive procedures that she will teach you how to do, and then guide that knot into the perfect place. That's what I'm concerned with. That's not something that I need a mirror for. It's something that I need my hands with. I can start anywhere in my hair. I can do one whole area, do the next area, or I can start up here, go over there. Whatever it is you're doing, it's going to be intuitive. It's going to happen so quickly, you're not even going to be able to believe it. So the main point is that you got to get out of the mindset of all of the things that you were taught not to do and realize that you can embrace them. Why do I like this? Because it seems like a more seamless match for what my natural hair wants to do anyway. My natural hair doesn't want to be pulled. It doesn't want to be forced into a grid, especially not past 13 years. All right. My own hair wants to be oiled. It wants to be wet without a problem. My hair wants it to be a simple process that's not laborious. I don't want anything tight to my scalp. Now, if you're someone who's crazy about the grid, it's not going to be for you. If you're going to be hollering about the grid, or if you're going to be whining about, I'm using these terms lightly, but if you're going to be whining about your parts and it not being all the way on the scalp, don't even do it. But down the line, you might be ready for it if you're not ready for it today. Or you may not ever be ready for it, and that's okay. Because y'all know, I was Sisterlocks before Knotted Locks, and I will still talk to you about Sisterlocks and everything you need to do to try to keep your hair healthy over the long haul. But do know that even if you're not ready to consider this type of move, that at some point where you start having issues with your hair, then maybe this is something that you can consider, and you don't want to wait too long, because if you start suffering from a lot of hair loss and a lot of thinning, you may not even be a good candidate for Knotted Locks either. So that's something for you to think about. You can start it on any length hair. I imagine you at least need to have an inch or so. You can, it's made by just letting the hair go where it wants to go. So for example, for my first several relockings, I'm sure it's still going to look like I have a grid, but my hair grows out of the lock in many areas of my head anyway. And so there's plenty of hair that I've had to guide into restriction that I don't want to guide into restriction anymore. I want it to go where it wants to go. And so hopefully over the course of time, I will be free of this grid, and I think my hair will be happier, because I know I am going to be happier. Y'all know I added these 2 little locks this morning. Hair is growing. I'm going to take this one out because this one was for the video, and I'm going to create another one the right way. But so those things are important. Do you have a grid? Not really. The hair is chosen. It's guided by it first communicating to you where the hair wants to go. If it's moving more towards the left, you'll pull it in with that lock. If it's going more towards the right, but it still will be neatly done. It will still be beautiful. Should you still braid and band? Probably so. If that was working for you before, it'll work for you now. I was braiding and banding for different reasons, because my hair is it's so long and so thick, it's easier for me to manage when I braid and band. You can twist all the way to the bottom and tie it. There are things that Ms. Blakes will talk to you about that will be specific to her process and her recommendation, and that's why I think it's important that you talk with her, because she can let you know if you're a candidate for it. Through talking with her, you can decide if you're a candidate for it, and if you are, you sign up for one-to-one training. It's not you and her and 10 other people. Right now, it's just you and her. You set up the time for the consult, you pay your money. I paid $5.90. I'd pay it all over again. It was hella worth it to me, because that pays for what? 4 retightenings, and I can do it myself with ease now. Now, do I want to do it myself for the next 15 years? Well, 4 times a year, and it really didn't take me much, y'all, and it was enjoyable because it was so new to me, and I just could not believe. Because the time that I've done my retightenings before, man, let me tell you, I had to block off 3 days. I knew it was going to be laborious. It was stressful. Then I would mistakenly combine something and go ballistic. I don't have to worry about that. And I've always loved messing with my hair and loving on my hair. So I don't mind doing it for maybe, I probably would do mine five times a year. That's just me. more than likely, or it just depends. I might focus on a particular section. I just got to tell you, it's so easy. She always says, do it in the shower while you're taking a shower. Just start knotting your hair while you're taking a shower. So it's up to you, but the thing is, it's easy peasy. It's easy peasy. You're gonna have to pay any money at this stage unless more locticians begin to decide they want to do it, in which case then maybe at some point in the future, if you wanted to sit down in somebody's chair and have them do it, that was an option for you as well. But I can't think of anything right now that, because even when I took on the locks, I was shifting. I was shifting in my level of spirituality. I was shifting in my identity, and that carried over to my clothing and everything about me. I'm more now moving more into a spiritual state where I just want flow and I want ease. I don't want the parts. I don't need the rigidity anymore. I want, like, I'm the messy bun person. I could be the messy bun person and still be happy. So this for me is perfect because it fits with the level of consciousness and where I'm headed vibrationally, and everything within me needs to align, and this just happens to fall right into that mindset, and it fits. So if it's not going to hurt my hair, I'm willing to try it, and if it's going to help my hair, I'm definitely for it. Now, if something happened and I didn't like it, I can go back to interlocking if I felt like it, if I really wanted to. So what do I have to lose? As long as I'm not fearful, as long as I know that at some point the length of my lock will show some likely perceivable difference, depending upon who's looking at it again. Because maybe it would to me, because I know where the knotted locks stop and the sister locks stop and the knotted locks begin. But for your average person, it's not going to look different. I've already been told it's going to be fuller and look more dense, so I can deal with that. I already know it's healthier because I'm not having to split my hair into sections with a grid, but also with the tool going through in the same direction, creating more friction. I'm not going to have to do that. Once the knot is tied, that whole lock of hair is together, and united we stand, divided we fall. So that to me makes 100. It's 100%. I understand that. So what else do I have to really lose? I gain because I can do it myself. I gain because it feels good. It doesn't hurt. There's not even one iota of soreness that you would experience. Why? The tool is not going through. Somebody's not pulling your hair. You're not pulling it. Even if you're already doing your own retightening and this is something that you're considering, you're going to feel like a slave who has gotten his or her freedom papers. And I really mean that. No more planning, no more scheduling, no more worrying about what's going to happen if I got to travel somewhere, or what's going to happen if I need to be out of the country for 6 months. It becomes a non-issue. So you still have the freedom of your sister locks. You still have the beauty of your sister locks. And if you want to stop there, hold on to your sister locks, your micro locks, whatever other locks you have. You'll be fine, provided you recognize that they're, like I always say, this is an at-risk style. There are some things that you need to control for in order to prolong the length of time that you can healthily wear this style. And so many of you are already starting to experience the pitfalls of those retightenings, especially the 4, 5, 6, and 7 week, for sure 4, 5, and 6 week retightenings. If you haven't now, you will eventually. Over 90% of you, 9 out of 10 of you for sure, are going to start to experience something that's going to require you to take a different approach. Even if that different approach means getting a different loctician or doing your own retightenings. So that's something that everybody encounters at a different time, a different space, and in a different way. I can't define for you with certainty what's going to happen. My locks have been healthy. I think I might have 4 or 5 issues with locks that I may have been concerned about over a 13-year period. I've never lost a lock. Now I've picked at one and picked at it and the lock dropped off, but I've never lost a lock. I've dyed my hair consistently. I've been pretty rough on my hair in a lot of ways other than not styling it. I don't believe in an excessive amount of styling, but I could have had a lot of issues with my hair had I not continued to do certain things that I felt I needed to do. Namely, taking my hair into my own hands, namely the grooming that I do with my hair before retightenings, namely my retightening schedule with the loctician. Both of them never had a problem with that. So if I came at 10, 11, or 12 weeks, or at 11 weeks for a whole year or two, or 3 or 4 years, and then started on 12, going 12 weeks, I didn't have somebody tell me you have too much hair. I didn't have someone to raise my price because I didn't adhere to a predetermined cyclical time schedule that just wouldn't work for me, because I am no longer a regimented person. I get up when I want to get up. I work when I want to work. My life is based on flow and freedom. I used to be that regimented person. When I first got these locks, I was fully in regiment. I needed to control for everything. As rigid as my locks were, was as rigid as my life was. I was that person beginning to come outside of that and start a spiritual journey, which has placed me in a place today where that old way of the way I was doing it just is not something that vibes with me right now. So it's a personal choice. It's your choice. It's something that I'll talk about more on the channel as I continue to talk about all of the other small locks, the micro locks, and everything else that I continue to bring to you. This is just one option of multiple options that may be best for you. And so it's just important that you continue to look for what works best for you, that you continue to be mindful of the pitfalls or the challenges or the unanticipated results and outcomes that can come from all of these kinds of styles, and that you just be ready to mitigate them and look at a different creative solution should the time come where you feel like, I got to do something else. So I'm Tanisha Ali. If you haven't purchased my book, Manifesting Your Masterpiece, you can get it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. If you haven't purchased the Ageless Beauty Serum, which I have been using consistently now, I guess it's going on maybe 3.5 or 4 years. Hopefully you've seen my skin improve. I know I have. When I'm using it regularly, I barely see those 3 lines that I used to have. You can get that from the website along with the other products on IamMelaninMagic.com. I will continue to come on the channel and talk about this. I encourage you not to text me about knotted locks in the same way that I don't like to give one-on-one advice about anything. I can only talk to you about my particular experiences and share the experiences that other sisters are having, but I just simply do not have the time to take a one-on-one text in a timely fashion. So if you did happen to text me and I get back with you, I'm glad that I'm able to. If I'm not able to get back with you, or I can't get to that text in a timely fashion, please do not be offended. This is going to be the best platform to talk about sister locks, knotted locks, wash routines, things that you need to do for the health of your hair, oiling, moisturizing, and anything else that we talk about on this channel. I'm here for it, and I always will be, because it is my mission to enlighten you in the way of self-empowerment with your hair, okay? Enlightening you in the pursuit of autonomy and self-empowerment when it comes to your hair. Your hands are the best, your ideas are the best, your intuitive processes are the best, unless you have exceptional locticians like Miss Dee Dee from California, who's come on the channel, and many of the other people that you've heard me talk about over the years, people who are ready and willing to individualize what your particular hair care needs and to offer you intervention when your hair is in trouble. And a lot of us have not been that fortunate. I have. I've had 2 wonderful locticians. I plan to still stay in touch with them. I plan to hopefully talk to Efraj about knotted locks, and hopefully we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate you. I want to thank you for all your support on the channel, and I will see you again soon. The I Am Melanin Magic brand salutes your support. I Am Melanin Magic, and so are you. You can purchase your copy of Manifesting Your Masterpiece at Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble today.